some of you will be aware that the MS Trust has developed a website called StayingSmart, which I've been involved with. And I know some of you have been reviewing it, and I don't know, Cara, if I could ask you to say a little bit about it.
I think it's great. I think none of it is rocket science to use the phrase, but it's really, really good, apart from anything else, to be able to go to a site and think, this has been developed because other people have these things too. It's not just me. And the tips on it are, really simple things, but really, really help. Things like having a to-do list. I constantly have to keep a to-do list. If I don't, things won't get done. I'll just totally forget I ever had to do them. I've got one on my phone now. To be honest, it still doesn't mean I'll do things. But at least they're there somewhere. In about 3 months, I'll go, oh, I'll do this. But the site is, I found, easy to navigate. I've got vision problems because of my optic neuritis. And I love the MS Trust sites anyway because they're white on blue and I find it really easy. But it's just, to me, helpful and easy to find what you need.
Neil, I think you've been looking at it for us as well.
That's right. I mean, I've picked up bits of knowledge from different places over the years, and it's good to have one place where it's all there. Again, there's no rocket science there, but lots of things I recognise that I do already, and lots of things I thought, well, yes, I've read that in that place, and that in that place, but it's all in one sort of easy to look at thing now. And I agree, it's user-friendly. It's also good that you can dip in at different levels, so that you can say, give me a tool or technique, thanks a lot, or what's that all about then? I want to know more about that, why that works. Or I might want to do more research into it myself so I can look at a different level. Or, hang on, that's just too much information, I just want to go back to the easy peasy thing, please, the to-do list. And it works at all sorts of levels, so I was really impressed with that.
Thank you.
The one thing it didn't have originally, I don't know whether it does now, is experiences from people, and I think it probably does now. And that's what it did lack to bring it to life. And as it does now, that's fantastic.
The more you use it, I think the more information you will find useful. Also, what is there now may not be useful to you, but 6 months from now or a year from now, I don't think like the sharpening stones, it's not for everyone. Every page is not useful for every person in the identical way for everyone else, if that makes sense. So you may go back and visit it over and over and find something brand new that you didn't notice before because it seemed irrelevant to you. And that's the beauty of it.
I'd just like to echo, I've had a look at it, and the fact that it's there, the site is there, shows that there's a need for it, and for people, particularly newly diagnosed or coming across cognitive symptoms for the first time, if I'd found a site like that, sort of when I was diagnosed, it would have just been fantastic, because it wasn't until I read Jeffrey's book that I actually knew that this was something, that was part of my MS. You think you're just imagining it all. So I think it's a fantastic site, and I've been on it recently, and the tips, things you can go and put your own tips, which is going to build up to a fantastic database.
I mean, one of the things obviously we had to think about quite carefully is we didn't want to make it scary. We didn't want things to be there that would upset or challenge or undermine people. And that's one of the reasons we adopted this layered approach, which we've just heard about, because it means people can sort of, control how much they want to turn the tap on. They can either have tips, a few drips, or they can have more and more and more right into the research. And I think increasingly I'm starting to be of the opinion that the information should be out there.
People need to know they're not losing their mind. As I was referring to finding out that cognitive impediments are part of this and that your memories are not being taken away, you're not losing things. You're not having that stolen away from you. So that said, everything you're experiencing is validated by this site, because there's a legitimate opportunity to look and see a discussion that people with MS can relate to without feeling that it's bad news. Bad news, it's going to be worse than I thought. Well, not necessarily. These are possibilities. Don't look at the worst first, necessarily, because that affects a very small portion of the MS population. But it's validating to know that you're not crazy. What you're experiencing isn't a ghost image or problem. It's real and it can be dealt with, but it starts with discussing it with an informed medical provider who also should know about this, and your doctor should look at the site too. So if they don't seem to understand.
I think it's very reassuring to go on the site and look at some of the tips and strategies and to realise that some of them you've actually worked out yourself. Yeah. So you then think, oh, well, whatever's going to happen, whatever cognitive problem there's going to be, there is actually an answer. And so I think that's very reassuring.
Yes. Solving these problems by yourself. The wheel of MS information, these coping strategies, actually exists already. If you don't want to admit it, if you can't get informed treatment about it, that's a different problem. But once you get to the point that you can accept that it exists, this whole world of information is easily accessible and useful. You will read through it and begin to think that they have been watching you. Because you will relate to it so much and you'll think, well, that's me. And of course they're not, but it's common what you've been experiencing. It's not as unique. It's unique to you, but it may not be as unique to the MS population. And people have shared, and now there's open validation of it. People think it's not just bad news, it's really bad news. And it doesn't have to be. If you don't educate yourself, if you don't connect with coping strategies that are available and can work, then it is going to be really bad news, because then you're staying in the dark.